Hi everyone, Trina Phoenix here, and we are at chapter 22. We're getting close to the end. We're almost done. And this chapter is called The Power of the Archetype. And I love archetype. Also, too, another way you could look at what is an archetype is an archon. So I see archonic energies very similar to the archetypal energies. I think they're very closely related. So I'm interested to see what she says about archetypes. And it begins with the passage of the mythological hero is essentially inward, into depths where obscure resistances are overcome, and long lost, forgotten powers are revivified, to be made available for the transfiguration of the world. Oh, I like that. So, nearly 25 years ago, when I drew my first goddess in Shasta's circle, which was Isis, I did not realize the transformative power of archetypes. Archetype was just another buzzword in psychology to me. I did not know that these prototypes for human potential not only lived inside of each of us, but also existed within the mind of the cosmos itself. That's what I saw. Planets were archetypes, their personalities, beings. The hero, the romantic, the visionary, the lover, these are not only potentials within our psyche, but they are aspects of the collective consciousness that dwell within the universal mind of God. As a trained hypnotherapist, healer, and clairvoyant for some 25 years, I had a good working knowledge of the many conflicting super personalities that live within. Sub personalities. Some of them are super, some of them are hidden, because I've seen this too. And I've seen other entities that try to hide in bodies too. That's pretty interesting when that comes up. The human psyche, and I knew, okay, what did it say? Yeah, I have a good working knowledge of the many conflicting sub-personalities that live within the human psyche. And I knew that they were not always in accord. I also understood why psychology, in an attempt to be accepted by traditional medicine, has sought to objectify human behaviors, which clinically manufactured terms such as social complex, childhood neurosis, genetic predispositions. Yet long before the advent of psychology, the sages of our past knew that the universal power of archetypes lie at the root of all human feeling, thought, and desire. Psychologist James Hillman, author of The Soul's Code, once wrote that the modern objectification of the cosmos and of human behavior into merely clinical terms creates a kind of deadening inside of people. The language of psychology is an insult to the soul. Oh, I have found that to be true. I have a degree in social work with a minor in psych. And when I started doing journey work and the hypnotherapy work through the journey process, this is where I saw how the protocols for psychology actually were almost creating more trauma to the body and the soul then it was helping. It was bringing it up over and over again, looking at it in different ways, but never coming to any kind of resolution or healing. It was just kind of putting them in a loop of their trauma. So I saw that as a therapist, and I was like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. And that was when I found the journey work. And I noticed this phenomena before I found a practice for it, and I started doing it with people just through doing energy work and talking with them about what I was seeing or hearing in their body, and that would get them into their stories, and we would start to process the trauma in the body, and then I would help it move along energetically. And I was seeing miracles and true healing, and like grief just go away in one time. I was like, wow, this is profound. Because I mean, you can sit on a couch for 10 years and not get the experience that they would have in one session of going into their own body and into their own mind and into their own inner self. I was seeing amazing things happen. So the language of psychology is an insult to the soul. Yeah, that's true. He goes on to remind us that by working with the living power of the archetypes that we are brought back to life. Since these archetypes not only live within the collective consciousness of the entire human race, but they live within each of us as well. Legendary teacher Deepak Chopra adds, inside of every human being, there is an overarching theme, a template for heroic living, a god or a goddess in an embryo that yearns to be born. This is who we were meant to be, the self that we deny. The self that we deny ourselves. Because most of us cannot see the field of limitless potential that is open to us. This is our best self, the egoless self, that bit of the universe acting through us for the good of all. As my studies with Shasta continued, I was to discover that we each have the power to awaken to these archetypes within ourselves and utilize them as allies. Yes. In this way, we can also awaken to the multidimensional facets of celestial beings that exist within the mind of God. We may choose to call upon these beings, gods and goddesses, or to think of them as facets of your own being. That can be called up in times of need. But no matter how we look at them, they represent templates that are found in all. This is your key. Templates. Your template it's your own sacred geometric pattern of light, sound, color, and vibration, and there's no other one like yours. So that's why we have a unique fingerprint. That's why we all have unique eyes. We all have a unique, there's just many parts of the body that are literally, there's no one else that has the same that you do. So those are those specific fingerprints. And they go all the way to light and frequency, sound and color, all the way up in creation. So your template is existing in, I'm pretty sure, at least 8 dimension, the 8th dimensional realms. It might even be higher, but I'm pretty sure that would make sense, it being in the 8th. So I think that could be correct. So your templates, your holographic template, is what's animating your physical body. So the information that built your body came from this template, and this template is always perfect. It's never sick, it never gets diseased, it never ages. It's the perfect organic template for the human being that you created. So the template, it's always whole. It's like the quantum field. So like if you cut an apple in half and you take a picture of the apple from a quantum Krillian perspective, you'll still see the full apple present within the energy spectrum. Even though half the apple has been cut off in the physical world, the whole apple template is still present. So this is the same concept of how your template is always existing within you in perfection, because you are basically kind of like a fractal from that holographic wholeness. So you can bring forth more attributes from your original template into your body. Say if you need something that needs healing, if your liver, say your liver's in trouble, you go into the hologram and go into your original blueprint for the design of your liver, and you literally go up into that design point, and you go and you tell the hologram that you would like to do an identification match upon the physical with the holographic. And then if they do not match, you will hear or sense if there's a problem, they do not match, then you can say replicate original codes from my organic template. And your body, if you believe it and all three agree, you'll do it. So these are the kinds of things I've seen happen. People just regenerate things that they didn't think could be regenerated, but you can. And we do. So with that, that's very powerful potential. And this is part of the whole, when they told me, you came to be like Jesus, it was to experience these witnesses of these healings so I could tell you guys, and you guys can start to do them too, because everybody has this. This wasn't like a talent that they possessed before they came in. They just activated it. And it was like already within them to do this. So we facilitate, but you never do another's healing. They do that themselves. But boy, when you get to witness it, it's wonderful. It's a true gift. It's a gift for the practitioner, and it's a gift for the person receiving the healing, because, oh wow, it's quite a beautiful thing to be in the presence of miracles. It's the best show on earth. So, how we look at them, they represent templates that are found in all. Oh, and that's another thing too. Your fractal, your human template is connected to the divine soul body template, which is a universal body, and it literally encompasses the entire universe. So it's a universal body is what I saw. So within your part of the fractal of the universal body, even though you're expressing in a human being form, you are still connected to the universal body through the hologram. So this is your true self, is the universal part of you, the universal body, which is directly connected to source. So that's your highest aspect, is literally bypassing even the hologram and going directly into straight light and source. So there's many places that you can travel as a multidimensional being. So, but some of the highest levels are when you're merging directly into the light, or you're into the dark waters of the mother in the womb, where you're experiencing unity of consciousness of everything too. So you are everything when you're there. You're the water, you're the stars, you're the planets, you're the dogs, you're the trees, you're the rocks, you're the frogs. You get to be all of it. It's a profound experience to get to experience all of everything. It is a little overwhelming. At least it was for me. Beautiful experience, but nonetheless a little bit overwhelming. And the one time I experienced that was when I got to see the vision where I saw, I was in the higher realms with the Lord, and we were talking in this huge, big, massive God thing behind us, big, huge being entity, which I'm pretty sure was Kronos, Father Time. And he popped the world, and it went dark, and I thought he killed everybody. And before he popped the earth, he said, feel it. And he threw me into the earth, and I could feel everything. And it was just like, holy moly. I could hear everything, rivers, streams, car accidents, traffic, Oh my gosh, everything at the same time. It was very profound. And as soon as you would focus on one sound, you would literally become that sound. So it was very intense. So I was just bouncing out of thing and thing and thing and thing, going through all these things and becoming the river and becoming the tree and becoming the frog and then the ant and then the bird. And it was just, you could be anything you could think of, and it would literally draw you into it. But it was very overwhelming, and it was happening really, really fast. So I was like, whoa, 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 pull, enough, get me out. This is too much. So he pulled me out of it, and then I was like, whoa, that was intense. And then he popped the world. I thought he killed everybody, and then it was totally gone. It was just black. And I was like, oh. And then he was, that was when I saw the being that, because before when I saw him pop it and everything, I was just drawn to watching his hands. I wasn't really like wanting to look behind me, and I don't know why, but I just wasn't. But then after he popped the world, I was like, what did you do? And I freaked out. So that was when I looked back and I saw the side of this beautiful face with this beautiful eye, and it was just like the profile of the face, like the jaw, just the profile, and I could just see this eye and just profile. And you see it started to grin. It was just the crick of the mouth. It started to rise up. And this eye, it was like primarily blue, but it was moving color. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, but it was moving color eye. I can't even explain it. Like the iris was moving color, almost like a lava lamp of all these different colors, and fuchsia and purple and blue and green and yellow, and it was just beautiful. And he smiled, and then I was just like, it's like he threw my face away, like to where I was looking back where the planet was again, and I don't know why, but I just like had to look this way. And but I heard the voice come from behind, and it was like, my child, if I created it, how would you think I do not know how to care for it? And I was like, wow, okay. So then he held his hand out, and then he went, and he brought the earth back, and it was a new earth, and it was all shiny and sparkly, and it had a beautiful high vibration, and I could literally feel the love coming from it. And I was just overwhelmed. I was like, whoa. And he goes, feel it. And he threw me in that one. And that's when I got to feel that one. And oh man, it was like, oh, it was so wonderful. Oh, it was like from chaos to a symphony. It's the best way I can explain it. Chaos into a symphony. Like all the sounds of the earth and the traffic and the sirens and the crying and the joy and all of it, it's chaos. This was harmony and a symphony. Like the flowers, everything, there was like a song, like a literal an orchestra, a song, very subtle, but ever present everywhere. It was like the whole entire planet was singing the same song. I can't even explain it in words. It was the most amazing feeling and experience, and it was the same earth, but it was in a new vibration. And we are water. We're water. Vibration, when you change frequency, it immediately restructures and changes the molecular structure of the water. We are water. Our organs are like 86% to 90% water. Your brain is 86% water. I mean, we are water. So it was literally, that was what it felt like. It felt like the whole world was changed through this light that came into the water, and it woke everything up. It was the most amazing thing I ever saw and ever felt, but overwhelming at the same time. Especially diving into this current earth was like, whoa, overwhelming. Chaos. But the new earth, wow, it was paradise. It was a bit beyond paradise, though. I mean, there are not words for how beautiful, and the way the harmony felt on the planet. It was profound. So this is my vision for us. This is my vision because why would I be given that image when I was 10 years old? I had no concept of 3 days of darkness. I had no religious, foundation. I didn't go to church. I didn't ever hear the stories about Armageddon or the end of the world. I had no concept of any of these things. Literally zero. Zero. And I'm literally shown this when I'm a child, and those kinds of things, they don't leave your brain. It's a different process. I don't know how they do it, but when they bring you in to get these kinds of experiences and these downloads in the higher realms of creation, when they happen to you, that happened to me when I was 10 years old. I'll be 50 in April. That was 40 years ago, and I can see it, and I can feel it. I can feel it like it literally happened 30 minutes ago. It is the craziest thing how these downloads stick with you. They're different than dreams. They're just different. These experiences where you have direct communication and higher consciousness communication with the higher parts of your own being, and you communicate with beings that are in higher realms and higher dimensions. These experiences, they stick in your mind very powerfully, and they don't fade at all. I mean, at all. It's very strange. I've noticed that over the years. The visions never fade. They always stay. They never go away. It's pretty cool. I really thought that was neat. No matter how much time passes, it's still as fresh as the day I had it. So, these archetypes can be called upon in times of need. But no matter how we look at them, they represent the templates that are found in us all. And when we can learn to interact with them, we can experience their wisdom directly for ourselves. Deepak Chopra writes, "Every one of us is hardwired at the level of the soul to enact our model, our certain archetypal characteristics. These would be known as our personalities. These are the seeds sown within us. When a seed sprouts, it releases the patterning forces that allow it to grow into a certain type of plant. The activation of an archetype releases this pattern or template. Yes, and this template force that allows us to become more of what we were already destined to become. Adopting an archetype is not a labeling, because it is not about limitations. It is quite the opposite. Archetypes are life models, images, and ideas that guide the direction of your life towards your soul's ultimate destiny. Recognizing your true nature and allowing it to blossom is part of the beauty of the living form, of the living from the level of the soul." So sorry about that. I'll reread that. Recognizing your true nature and allowing it to blossom is part of the beauty of living form, the level of the soul. You can become the hero or the heroine of a mythical saga. The blueprint that the universe intends for you is found at the level of soul. We get clues in the form of coincidence, and we get guidance in the form of archetypes. So then, how do we define an archetype? Archetypes are primordial ideas that structure the very reality. They appear to us in the form of symbolic images, and they may appear in the form of a variety of symbols. They are the vocabulary of the psyche itself, through which the initiate can communicate with their own inner depths. Archetypes can also be defined as the preconscious psychic disposition that enable a person to act in a particular manner. Depending on the orientation of a particular society, these archetypes may be viewed in a variety of ways. Religion considers them as divinities. History calls them myths or legends. Psychology labels them as complexes or archetypes. As a clairvoyant, however, I was to discover that there are far more than simply psychology constructs. Plato and Jung on celestial archetypes. That's where we'll go next. I will be recording another one soon, so we will pick up on that, and we are getting super close to the end. Oh, how funny. We stopped on 4:16. That's my birthday. You can't make this stuff up. It's so synchronistic, and it's so amazing. So yes, these archetypes, what I can say from what I was shown about these are the biggest profound connection to my archetypal system was for me was learning that the archetypes were my chakra system, and that each one of my chakra wheels was associated to a planetary body, and that planetary body has a personality, attributes, strengths, and weaknesses. And through those archetypes, they are my power wheels of creation in cooperation with the archetype template. So these archetypes live within you. They truly do, as well as they are expressed in the universe outside. So they're within and without, as above, so below. So to me, learning about how Saturn rules the head, and Saturn is the crown. And with this whole coronavirus thing, Saturn is coming in conjunct right now with 3 other planets. So this is a very big Saturn time. I think it's coming in with Taurus. I don't know. Astrology, I'm still learning so much about it, but I do pay attention because I know that that is the script for the universal cosmic play that we're experiencing right now. And it is highly dependent upon the movement of these archetypes above us and within us. That's how these energies manifest on the world. They're connecting through the archetypal templates and patterns of creation. So these archetypes, get to know them. They're your friends. They're part of who you are as a being, as a multidimensional being. So it's like the Jesus and the Buddha and all of these beautiful ascended masters and the planetary bodies with their power and their essence. All of these are part of you. They're part of your family. So they're not to worship. They're not to give your power to. You are to integrate what you already are and utilize the power of these different attributes as and when needed. So these are your tools, your treasures, and your gifts. They're nothing to be afraid of, and nothing to think that this is anything outside of you. So to activate your chakras, you don't need anybody to do that for you. You don't need anybody to send you energy. You don't need any of that. You have the ability to activate your chakras. You have the ability to balance the wheels of creation within you. So you need no one else. But I will tell you, when 2 or more come together with a common intention, it's powerful. So this is why when we come together, we are so much stronger. It's because it's so true. Divided we fall, but united we thrive. And we become very, very powerful. So We have power to connect to each other through these archetypal templates. We have power to connect through each other through our same timeline, shared experienced reality on the third dimensional earth plane. We are connected very intimately through this experience. So, through this physical experience, many of us came here to learn how to reconnect with the spiritual, eternal essence of what we really are and start to guide this planet and our energy centers into a better, more positive timeline and a new, beautiful position in creation where we actually start to reconnect with the powers of us and the powers that we have always had. I don't know if we always had them. I actually think that we regained them through the whole Christ consciousness being brought back into the planet through the breath into the nostrils of the next Adam template. I literally think that we were actually cut off from this for a while, but the human species now has been reconnected to Source. And through that reconnection, that's what they call the Christ consciousness. So that's what they mean when they say, ye are gods. Yeah, because you have this ability now to connect mother and father as the child of the Son, or a son of God, or a son of truly, it's a son of man, the template of man, because we're expressing in the man template right now. Human, hue of a man, but nonetheless, still connected to the man. So remember, mankind, be kind to one another. I love you all. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. Love ya.